हॅलो फ्रेंड्स, वेलकम टू स्टेप अप अकॅडमी. तर आपण जॉग्राफी ऑप्शनल जो राज्यसेवा 2025 चा जो पेपर झाला त्याचे आपण क्वेश्चन आन्सर डिस्कस करत होतो. सो कंटिन्यूइंग फॉरवर्ड विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन्स, आय हॅव ऑलरेडी taken two videos with respect to it, and I have covered questions till 4. Now today we'll be looking into next set of questions, that is section B, question 5. ठीक है. So first I'll take the video in English medium only. Later on I'll conduct same video in Marathi medium as well. Okay, once I've completed all these answers. Okay. So next question was question 5A. Explain the global classification of human races. Okay. So again a straightforward question. They haven't done an asked a question, a complex question like UPSC, that they are trying to relate the human races with some current related aspect or not. Okay, so simple, just explain the global classification of human races. So according to A.L. Krober, human races, they represent a biological population differential, okay, through hereditary means. Okay, so biologically whatever things that we have inherited from our ancestors, depending upon that, those physical traits and aspects, depending upon that, we have different human races. Okay, and this physical traits that we have developed, we humans have developed within ourselves, that have developed because of different factors. Most of us, there's a well-known theory that the first humans, they originated in the African continent, or some say they originated in the Central Asia. Okay, so there are different theories related to it, but the migration of the population from Africa, or let's say from Central Asia to different parts of the world, that migration led to the development of different human races. Because of the migration and isolation of certain sections of the population, what happened, the different physical traits that are seen within us, that is for example the structure of our eyes, or you can say the structure of our face, jawline and all, the structure of our hair, texture of our hair, okay, then the stature, the height of a person, all these things that have varied because of the movement or the migration of the people, and a major factor has been played by the environment. Okay, environment has played a major factor with respect to the physical traits that human races have developed. For example, if I talk about the Arctic region has very cold climate, as a result of which the color of the skin of the people over there will be completely different. If I talk about the people staying in living in the tropical areas, there the color of the because of the intense insolation that is received, there will be high melanin pigmentation and all, as a result of which the color of the skin will be a little bit dark. Okay, so physical traits they have shaped, and this theory or this study was made by A.L. Krober. So the basis of the classification of human races is either skin color, or it is the hair structure, or the cranial form, the entire face or entire the skull structure that we talk about, the skull structure, cranial form, facial features, then stature, and even the blood groups to some extent. So all these traits they have been able, they form the basis of human racial classification. So this racial classification, this concept was further enhanced by two more people, that is Blumenbach and Griffith Taylor. Griffith Taylor is a specific person with respect to whom we will be talking about different races. So the major basis of classification are the skin pigmentation, then the hair texture and the color of the hair, then the cephalic index, the head shape, then we have the nasal index. Okay, some people have a very small nose. Okay, some people have a very pointy nose, like mine is a very pointy nose. Okay, so these are what? These are the physical traits that we have developed. Then eye shape. If I talk about the Mongoloid race, okay, Mongoloid race, they have an extra epicanthic layer about the eye, as a result of which their eyes look little bit smaller. Okay, so eye shape, then the stature and the body build. If we talk about the people living in India, most of the people living in India, specifically if I talk about living between south of the Tropic of Cancer, they have small height. For example, my height is hardly 5 feet 5.5. Okay, So the height is small, the stature and the body build, this is also a physical trait that decides the human races. So the global classification of human races based upon these physical traits, we have the Caucasoid race. This race particularly developed in the Caucasoid mountain ranges, so basically developed in the Central Asian region, and they migrated to Europe, and they migrated to some parts of Asia as well. Okay, so they have their certain specific features. For example, they have a very lighter skin, fair skin is present. Okay, narrow noses. They have a wavy hair and comparatively taller stature. Okay, so mostly you can talk about, you can relate this with respect to Mediterranean region as well, in and around those areas. So if you look at the people from Greece area, so there basically we find the Caucasoid race. Then next comes the Mongoloid race. It is characterized by yellowish or light yellow color skin, or sometimes even a little bit of light brownish skin as well. This race is mostly found in the Mongolia region, okay, Mongolia country. It is found in China, then in South Korea. So we can talk about East Asia, even the southeastern nations, and even in the Arctic regions as well. This Mongoloid race is pretty dominant. So they have this specific characteristic physical traits, that is, they have a straight hair, they have broad cheekbones. You'll find that broad cheekbones is present, and an extra epicanthic eye folds are present, as a result of which their eye looks a little bit smaller. So this classification is basically because on the physical features, but it is that epicanthic eyelid folds have developed also because of the you can say the type of climate that they were living in. If I talk about Mongolia region, it is a very you can say cold area. Okay, cold area. Then there is glaciers are also present over there, as a result of which the albedo effect is very high, as a result of which the UV radiation reflected, the radiation sun's insolation that is reflected back, that is also very intense, as a result of which they usually tend to keep a small eye. Okay, so as a result of which over a period of time their race evolved, and the evolution took place, and the epicanthic eye fold was formed. Then next comes the Negroid race. Negroid race is found mostly in the tropical Africa. They have dark skin pigmentation, curly woolly hair, or broad noses, and prognathous facial features. Okay, broad forehead you can talk about. Then Australoid race, we have Australoid race population believed to be, this is believed to be mostly present in the peninsular part of India as well as in Australia. Okay, so we find dark skin present, then wavy hair, broad noses, and medium stature. As I said, medium stature. Okay, then Griffith Taylor's racial classification. So he basically classified all these races into 7 different types. The first one was in the Nordic areas. Nordic areas found in the Scandinavian region. Then came to the little bit south of it, the Alpine race, which is found in the southern Alps of Europe. Then came the Mediterranean region, which is south of the Alpine mountain ranges. Then came the Mongolian race, which was eastern side of the Mediterranean, eastern part of the Mediterranean. Then came the Negroid race. Negroid race, if I talk about this, found in Africa. Then Australoid race found in southern part of India as well as in Australia. Then Negrito race. There is a difference between Negroid and Negrito. Negrito race is mostly found in the South Asian region. Okay, so the Taylor's classification was also linked with the stop and go determinism, emphasizing environmental influence on the migratory pattern. So these different races of population that we see across different parts of the world, okay, they are living in different parts of the world, so they have got dispersed over a period of time. But after getting dispersed from some areas, they tend to got localized over there. Okay, so if I talk about the medieval period, there wasn't enough migration taking place as compared to today. Today we find people migrating to even Antarctica and Arctic region as well. No doubt they are not staying over there for a long period of time, but people are moving from the eastern hemisphere to the western hemisphere to eastern hemisphere. So people are migrating long distances, and they are also staying there for a longer period of time. So this particular racial group, which was developed mostly in the medieval times when the migration was limited to an extent, at that time we can talk about there was this influence, climatic influence on the bodily features of the people to a great extent. Okay, so just they have simply asked the explain the classification, so just write about it. Then second, classify the natural resources. Okay, just classify the natural resources. Now if I read this question, classify the natural resources. This question looks simple, but it is asked for 10 mark. So you have to write about all the resources that are present, okay, in brief 10 mark, that is hardly 150 words. Okay, you have to, that becomes very challenging. And plus you also have to ensure that you are not writing a very general answer. You have to ensure that you are making the answer geography optional based. So just write about one person. So there was Eric Zimmerman, who was associated with the natural resources. According to him, resources are not, they become. Okay, so he gave a phrase, resources are not but they become. So what does this mean? So if you talk about resources, resources are nothing but they are the elements which are lying on the surface of the earth or beneath the surface of the earth, unless and until we make a definite economical use or some use of that particular resource. For example, let's say if I talk about gold. Okay, let's say we assume that gold has no value, it is of no use to us. If it is of no use to us, it is lying within the earth surface or lying at the ground surface, then definitely they won't be, we won't call it as a resource. So, but we know that there are some properties of that particular resource or that element which are quite useful. For example, it is shiny, it is non-corrosive, then there are some aesthetic features as well. Okay, so different characteristics are there, some spiritual and all those things are associated. So that's why then and then only it becomes a resource, that is they become. Okay, so Eric Zimmerman gave a phrase that resources are not, they become, implying that natural elements acquire resource value through human knowledge, technology and utility. As long as we are not utilizing a particular resource, we can, a particular element, we cannot call it as a resource. Okay, so when we make a proper commercial utilization, then we call it as a resource. So depending upon the knowledge, the availability of the technology and the utility. Okay, so for example, technology should also be available. For example, lithium. Okay, was lithium of significant use until now? Now we have started making lithium ion batteries. Suddenly lithium has become an important resource. So the technology in the past was not available, but today the technology is available, plus it has a utility as well, so we call it as a resource. So it has simply asked classification. So write something definition based, that is given by, usually you won't find such names, geographers name within your regular notes and all. But I ensure in my classes that I do relate all these with the geographer's name, because I have developed this habit since long कि भाई किसी ना किसी geographer का नाम होना चाहिए. Okay, and I also ensure कि notes, whatever notes that I'll be providing you in my classes, I ensure that I provide these names. Okay, so the basis of classification, if I talk about that, then there are natural resources and there are some man-made resources as well. So if I talk about just natural resources, we have depending upon the origin, whether they are from organic sources, that is biotic sources, or from non-organic, that is abiotic sources. Then exhaustibility, whether it is renewable or whether it is non-renewable. Then ownership, whether it is that resource is occupied by one individual person, for example having one agricultural farmland, or it is a public resource, that is a natural resource, for example national parks. Okay, then development, whether it is potential or whether it is completely developed. For example, we say that the northeastern region have high hydroelectricity water potential. Okay, so the water rivers in the northeastern region, they have high potential for development of hydroelectricity power plants. But is it actually developed? No, we are still developing it, we are still working upon it. When developed resources, where which are where from where we are actually extracting the resources. For example, Bombay High, okay, Mumbai High, from where we are extracting oil and natural gas. So it is actually developed. Then distribution, whether it is ubiquitous, that is universally present, or whether it is localized. Okay, so some resources, specifically if I talk about metal resources, for example iron ore. Okay, so iron ore is mostly I can talk about, it is a localized resource. Okay, found only in specific areas in India or across the world. Then there are some ubiquitous which are naturally present all across. For example, air. Air is also a natural resource. Okay, air. Then water. Water is also mostly, it is universally present. Okay, so some are ubiquitous and some are localized. Okay, so classification based on the basis of origin. Okay, so you can just classify by what are biotic and abiotics, just explain in one line and give examples. Okay, then classification on the basis of exhaustibility, renewable resources and non-renewable resources, you already are aware of this. things. ठीक है, then classification on the basis of ownership, individual, community, national reserves and international reserves, or international resources, sorry, international resources as well. There are high seas. Recently have been signed biodiversity beyond national jurisdiction, the high seas treaty. Okay, so high seas, Antarctica, deep seabed resources. Then classification on the basis of development potential resources, for example solar energy in Rajasthan, wind energy in Gujarat, and just now I talked about water for hydroelectricity generation in the northeast. Then developed resources which have been actually surveyed, quantified, and is actually being utilized. Then stock resources, there are resources which existence is known but current technology does not permit its commercial utilization. Okay, for example the hydrogen fuel, nowadays we are talking about hydrogen cars, but do we find commercially present all across the planet? No, still it is in the nascent stage, still the technology is being developed. Okay, so hydrogen as a future fuel. Then there are reserve resources, parent stocks which are reserved. Okay, ubiquitous and localized resources. Okay, so also mention some contemporary. So if I talk about resources, most of the resources that we have seen, they are limited because planet earth is the only living planet we know in our solar system till now. Okay, and so most of the resources, they are limited, and as a result of which, what happens, the more and more the population that is depending upon the resources, the prices will go on increasing. And definitely, for example, I haven't talked about some other resources, for example food resources. Okay, so if I talk about food resources, definitely the population is increasing, then there will be food insecurity problem will be there. So do not forget this person whenever you get a question with respect to resources, that is Malthus. Okay, indirectly influence resource geography through his theory on population resource imbalance. Okay, so population theory of Malthus is very significant because his theory is mostly related with the resources. So you can simply make a contemporary relevance or just try to link it with the Malthusian population and resource theory. Okay, that was second question. Then third question, explain the types of rural settlement with suitable figures. ठीक है, so फिर से directly question पूछा गया है, types of rural settlement. So this person in Brunus talked about the rural settlements, and the rural settlements, they vary depending upon the physical environment, they vary depending upon the agricultural practices that are being done, the social structure, and the historical evolution. Depending upon these factors, the rural settlement vary across different places. Okay, so basis of classification of rural settlements is, that is the spacing between the houses. Okay, if I talk about the rural areas, if you go to some plain areas, for example North Indian plain areas, if you go to rural area over there, what you will find that there will be, the houses will be very nearer to each other. No doubt rural area hai, plain area, but it is a plain area, so houses will be nearer to each other. If I go to some mountainous area, hilly area, if I go to Himalayan areas, rural area, but still the houses will be away from each other. So the spacing, the distance between the two houses in the rural area, that also becomes a basis of the rural settlement. Then the morphology. Okay, the type of houses, the building material that the people will be using in constructing their houses. For example, if I go to Assam, the natural resource available over there, Assam, Meghalaya, the natural resource available there is the bamboo. So most of the people over there, they construct their houses from bamboos and all. Okay, in other parts, people will be constructing their houses from mud nowadays because of the urbanization, because of the urban effect, urban sprawl वगैरह effect. We find even in the rural areas, people are constructing houses from cement, concrete. Okay, so morphology, then the morphology also deals with the type of the roads that will be having through the rural areas. If you are having a main highway passing through a rural area, then the morphology or the structure of the rural settlement completely changes. Then site characteristics are there, settlement patterns vary according to, this also vary according to the relief, that is the slope of the land, whether it is a plain area or whether it is a hilly area. Water availability, for example, if I go to Rajasthan, there is the water scarcity is there, as a result of which the rural settlement over there, they will be dispersed as a settlement. Okay, then if soil fertility, this also plays an important role. For example, just now I talked about plain areas. Then security conditions and land holding. holding system. Okay, so there are two more people associated with it. RL Singh, to ye naam to pata hoga, even if you are not aware of this, but this person name you should always remember. Okay, geography optional section. Emphasize the role of culture as well as the environment upon the rural shaping of the settlement morphology of the rural areas. So these people, they said that not just these physical aspects, that is relief, water availability, soil fertility, or physical environment, agriculture practices, or the structure or historical, but there are cultural and environmental factors that shape the settlement of rural settlement. Okay, culture plays a significant role as well as the environment. If I talk about Indian society is mostly dependent upon the culture. Okay, so homogeneity of the culture plays a very significant role in the settlement type of the Indian rural settlement types. Okay, so these are some bases. So depending upon that types of directly, you can simply write this part or this part, ये दोनों में से कोई भी आप लिख सकते हो. Then types of rural settlement, we have the clustered and the nucleated settlement. Clustered settlements means the houses are very nearer to each other, they are compactly close to each other. Okay, and around some central area. For example, in some rural areas, if you go, you will find a panchayat office that might be present over there. So around that panchayat office, the houses will be clustered over there, or there might be some temple, or there might be some pond. In such area, we find clustered or nucleated settlements. Okay, so mostly it is found in the plain areas, the northern Indian place. Then there are dispersed or scattered settlements. Scattered settlements usually are found in areas where people also have large agricultural land holdings. For example, if you go to Punjab, Haryana, where most of the people, they have large agricultural land holding, as a result of which they will be having some few acres of agricultural land, let's say 20-30 acres of agricultural land. There they might be having their own farmhouse. Then there might be some another 20-30 acres of agricultural piece of land, there might be some another house. So in such areas we find dispersed or scattered settlements. Then even in the hilly mountainous areas, there also this is very common. Okay, hilly terrains, forested regions, this is common. Okay, then there might be some physical barriers. For example, if you go to northeastern areas, there are mountainous ranges. Okay, mountain ranges which acts as a physical barrier, as a result of which most of the settlements in rural areas, they are scattered over there. Okay, so depending upon morphology, we have nucleated or clustered settlement, then we have dispersed or scattered settlement, then we also have the semi-clustered or fragmented settlements. This is intermediate in between the nucleated and the dispersed settlement. Okay, small hamlets are present. Then there are hamleted settlement. Hamleted settlements are usually found wherein a group of a particular caste or belonging to some particular community, they are living together in a very you can say in a enclosed or little bit compacted manner. Okay, they belong to one particular clan. For example, recently I visited one village. Okay, the name of the village, Tenzin village. It was present in Arunachal Pradesh. So Tenzin village, so the entire people belong to one particular family. Okay, so it was a small hamlet. They belong to all the houses in that entire small area. They belong to one particular family. Okay, so physically or socially linked together. They are socially linked together. So this is depending upon the morphology. We have different types of settlement. Then depending upon the shape, also we have different types of rural settlement. For example, we have linear pattern of rural settlement, which is mostly present along the canals, or you can say railway lines. Okay, then we have the cross-shaped pattern as well. Cross-shaped pattern wherein you will find houses along the roads where two important you can say state highway or rural roads, they are crossing one another. Then there is a star-like pattern of rural settlement. Then there is T-shaped pattern settlement. There is circular pattern, and even there is some double pattern settlement which is seen. Okay, so depending upon the morphology as well as depending upon the shape, we have different types of settlement. You can either put in one table and show it in small manner. Okay, so that it becomes easy for you to write, or else you can simply write all these things. It is a 10 marker question asked for 15 mark, so you may go for this type of explanation. Okay, this type of explanation, simply put in, draw a diagram, linear settlement, write 2 to 3 line. Okay, cross section, write 2 to 3 line. T type of settlement, circular, star shape, just write few lines, your task will be done. But do not forget to mention about the geographer's name. ठीक है. Along with that you can simply draw a map in case if you are comfortable, if you have time. ठीक है, ये भी नहीं याद है, वो भी याद नहीं है, तो इसके ऊपर काम कर सकते हैं भाई. आपको जो आपने देखा होगा कभी भी, what type of rural settlement, simply put it over here. Nucleated settlement along the plains and all, linear settlement, dispersed settlement, all you can put it up. ठीक है. Okay. So hamleted settlement, then morphology, conclusion. Then next question, we have explained the concept of sustainable development. So directly straightforward question, what is sustainable development? But it is asking explain the concept. It is what is sustainable development. It has explained the sustainable development. So the World Commission on Environment and Development, which took place in 1982, which basically focused upon the sustainable development. So it gave a definition. You already are aware of. Sustainable development means development that meets the needs of the present generation along with the needs of the future generation. So this idea gained more prominence after the Brundtland Commission. This commission is also called as the Brundtland Commission, World Commission on Environment and Development. It is also called as the Brundtland Commission, but it gave the report in 1987. This took place in 1982. It gave the report in 1987, and it came the report title Our Common Future. Okay, so geographers and environmental, they started thinking upon the sustainable development. So what are the major features of sustainable development? The major features are the intergenerational equity. The definition itself is that resources for present generation and the next generation. So intergenerational equity, then there is conservation of natural resources, balanced economic growth, then social justice and inclusiveness, then environmental protection. Then there are some pillars of sustainable development. You can talk about then environmental sustainability, economic sustainability, and social sustainability. Do not forget social sustainability as well. That is ensuring equitable education, health, all these things to the society. Insurance as well, you can put it in social sustainability. Gender justice is there, gender equality is there. Okay, so these are also the part of the sustainability. So pillars of sustainable development, we should always strive for environmental sustainability, that is protection of the ecosystem, biodiversity, for example by construction or marking the national parks, by coming up with different laws. Okay, convention of biological diversity and all. Then economic sustainability, which we should focus on long-term economic development by limited use or sustainable use of the resources. Okay, just now we have seen a question on resources. So circular economy, we are now focusing on circular economy. We are now focusing on green industries. We are also focusing on the extended producer responsibility and all. Okay, so that should be our main task. So energy efficient infrastructure and all. Then social sustainability, we are already undertaking different measures with respect to social sustainability. For example, the poverty elevation programs. For example, now we have an updated bill, that is G Ram G. Okay, full form तो मुझे भी याद नहीं रहता उसका. ठीक है. Then we have inclusive urban planning and all, we are focusing upon. Then housing schemes and all these talk about sustainable development. Then on the global scale as well, some initiatives have been undertaken with respect to sustainable development. For example, we already know about the 1992 Earth Summit. Then various initiatives undertaken over here, that is Agenda 21 principles were there. Then later on we also came up with Convention on Biological Diversity. Then recently we also have the Paris Climate Agreement. We have also talking about the Sustainable Development Goal 2030. ठीक है, अगर एग्जाम में इतना सब कुछ याद नहीं है तो एटलीस्ट SDG 2030 जो भी 17 गोल्स है उनके बारे में लिख के आ जाओ. ठीक है, बट देर आर सम challenges because they have asked explain the concept. So write some challenges with respect to sustainable development. The population is still rising significantly. Okay, some countries definitely they have controlled. For example, China, the population is now a little bit controlled, but now again it has dropped its one child policy and it is again focusing on increasing its population. Then Africa continent, the population growth rate is very high over there. India itself, no doubt we are controlling, but still the population growth rate is significantly high, world's largest country. So a rising population, the rapid urbanization that is taking place, then the intensive use of agricultural resources, the intensive use of resources. Then there is this climate change taking place, deforestation is taking place for extraction of resources. So because of this, sustainable development has become a bit of challenge. Not only this, you can also talk about the recent wars that are taking place, the conflicts that are taking place. So because of these conflicts, the sustainable development has become a question mark. Okay, so write about all these aspects. Then next question, explain the concentric zone theory of urban town planning with suitable diagram. So you should be aware why concentric zone theory was given by Burgess. Okay, so proposed by Ernest Burgess proposed the concentric zone theory in 1925, explaining the urban growth through a series of circular land use zones expanding outward from the city center. So basically what he said, that the cities, they expand from a city center. So he divided the urban area into different zones. He talked about that the urban development that takes place, it takes place in concentric ring, in a circular manner, in a circular manner. Okay, so he was basically a Chicago School of Urban Sociology. So he talked about different zones. So first zone that we talked about, that is the CBD zone, that is the Central Business District. So he said that the Central Business District is an area of high economic importance, where we see high economic activities taking place. The population over here is very high, especially during the daytime, or especially during the work time. Okay, this is the innermost zone. Most of the commercial establishments are present over there, administrative buildings are present over here, offices, commercial offices are present over here, then economic activities, that is the banking facilities and all, is present over here. Okay, the land prices in such area are very high. For example, we find in Connaught Place in Delhi, New Delhi. Then you can take example of your local area as well. For example, if I'm in Pune, so if I talk about Pune area, I find this central Pune, that is Shivaji Nagar. Shivaji Nagar, I can call it as the CBD of Pune, because we have a municipal corporation here as well. Okay, then most of the administrative as well as you can say the commercial activities also take place in and around the Shivaji Nagar. Then second comes the zone of transition. These zones surround in a circular manner. It surrounds the CBD and contains old housing. Okay, so around CBD we find some old housings. Here also the commercial activity is comparatively higher. Most of the old houses, they have now transformed into commercial basis. For example, just now I gave an example. Let's say Connaught Place. Connaught Place के बाहर आप थोड़ा सा दूर चले जाते हो, you get Karol Bagh. Karol Bagh, mostly initially it was a residential area, but now most of the residential building has been transformed into commercial zones. ठीक है, flats के अंदर आपको PGs वगैरह बनाए हुए मिल जाते हैं वहाँ पे. ठीक है, then not only that, some flats have been transformed into commercial buildings. We see bank lane is over there. ठीक है, bike lane is over there. Again, taking local example, Pune का example लिया तो शिवाजी नगर. So in and around शिवाजी नगर we have this शनिवार वाड़ा, शनिवार पेट and all. ठीक है, so शनिवार पेट, most of the infrastructure over there, old housing, old buildings. So we also find some small warehouses. So whatever the wholesale shopkeepers are present over here, they will be having their warehouses. Then there are also printing facilities present over there. So small industries are present over here, and there is continuously invasion of commercial activities over there. Most of the residential buildings are slowly and steadily converting into commercial zones. So mixed land use is present over here, poor housing conditions are there, industrial activities, high population mobility is there. Then third section comes the working class residential zone. Okay, working class. So the central business district, the transition zone, they become very costly for the working class. So as a result of which, what Burgess said, that as you are moving away from the CBD, the price or the cost of the land goes on decreasing, as a result of which people try to migrate outward. So working class residential zone, people migrate from the CBD and transition zone to working class residential zone. Okay, workers, lower middle income people live over here. Then fourth zone comes the middle class residential zone, and fifth zone comes the commuter zone. Commuter zone is a zone which is completely lying outside, you can say, city, on the borders of some rural area and the city area. Here the land prices are very cheap, and the rich people which are staying in the CBD, initially staying in the congested area, they want to have good amenities, good houses, large houses, as a result of which they usually migrate to the outermost zone. Okay, for example, for them, for the rich people, the commuting cost is not that significant, so they are easily able to purchase their cars and they are easily able to travel through their cars through the CBD. Okay, so such areas we find in Gurugram around Delhi, then suburban area around Chicago, even the suburban of Mumbai. Most of the people from the rich people, they mostly have moved towards the suburban areas because of the better facility over there, cheaper land present over there. Okay, so this theory, the question was a question that has asked, that is the explain. So significance, write some significance. So this theory given in 1925, no doubt it had some drawbacks, but it was quite useful for urban planning. Okay, nowadays we see such urban planners are focusing upon such areas. For example, let's talk about Pune area. Initially Pune grew in a very haphazard manner, but now not just Pune, but most of the cities across India, we find the ring roads are being constructed. Okay, so ring roads are being constructed. For example, Delhi Eastern Expressway, Western Expressway. Even in Mumbai, we find Eastern Expressway, Western. Even in Pune, we find Eastern Expressway. Okay, so even around Lucknow and all. So these areas now, the outer boundary is being marked in a circular way. That's why we call it as a ring road. And the development that now we are seeing, it is taking place along that ring road in a concentric circular manner. So this CBD, this concentric zone model, this has helped urban planners to actually plan the construction of the road networks in a circular manner. Okay, so explain the urban landscape patterns and all, economic segregation. So this model is quite useful. Okay, no doubt there were some criticisms. The criticisms were basically with respect to the assumptions that was given by Burgess, the assumptions that he made. He said that every city expands from a central area in an outward direction, and whenever a city expands from central area in outward direction, there is a uniform land present everywhere. ठीक है, is there uniform land present everywhere? No. For example, if I talk about Mumbai, okay, Mumbai, one side I find the coast, Arabian Sea is present. On the other side, I find the Western Ghats that are present. So the land surface is not uniform everywhere. Most of the Mumbai suburban area, it was a forest area. Okay, there are small hills that are present, so no uniform land is present. So what assumption that Burgess made? Initial assumption he made that the entire land surface is uniform, there are no physical barriers. Okay, this was the first criticism. Then second thing, that he talked about one nuclei, that is one CBD, one central business district. But nowadays we find multiple economic zones being developed within one city area. Okay, within one city area or next just to the next city area. For example, if I talk about Pune district, entire Pune district, here we have two municipal corporations now. Okay, Pune Municipal Corporation and Pimpri Chinchwad Municipal Corporation. So two separate CBDs have developed over here. Okay, so multiple nuclei are being developed at different places. Even if I talk about Delhi example, we have Connaught Place, then even this Karol Bagh has developed as a complete, then Sadar Bazaar, it has developed differently. Okay, so multiple nuclei are being getting developed, and modern transport systems they have developed, as a result of which cities have expanded. Nowadays cities are not expanding in a circular manner, but they are also expanding in the direction where transportation network is present. For example, metro line. Most of the people now tend to look house which is nearer to the metro line. So the cities are expanding wherever the metro line is there. Initially cities were expanding wherever the national highways were present, just next to the national highway सुना होगा, हाँ भाई यहाँ से national highway बनने वाला है तो उसके बगल में तुरंत जमीन खरीद लो. Okay, so cities are expanding along the road networks, they are expanding along the metro lines, not in a circular manner. ठीक है, and this multiple nuclear theory was this the later geographers like C.D. Harris and Edward Ullman, they proposed multiple nuclear theory and tried to address these limitations. Okay, so the concentric zone theory, no doubt there were some criticisms with respect to it, but definitely it has helped in understanding about the urban planning to a great extent. Okay, so I hope this little bit of information and the geographer's name and content would have helped you in writing your answers. Okay, so I'll be covering the remaining questions in a couple of days, so that will complete our paper 1. and then later on I'll move to paper 2. If you have any doubts, any queries with respect to answer writing, with respect to geography optional, you can contact Step Up Academy Pune anytime. Okay, so I'm present over here. You can come up with your answers as well. If you want to share your answers, if you want for any enrichment of your answers and all, so you can come here and contact me. Okay, thank you. I'll share this PDF of these model answers along with the video link. Thank you.